What's going on, everybody? This is Will, coming back with another development log. This development log is going to showcase a couple of abilities that I've decided to give enemies. Hopefully, I can find a good way to really spice up the gameplay. I was talking with my coworker, and we came up with some abilities, but I got some abilities that we didn't come up with, but I think are actually really dope. Now it's just a matter of really blending out the particle systems and just managing the performance with the particle systems. But anyway, I have a couple abilities that I'd like to show. I think this is actually going to be pretty cool. So I got a fan arrow ability, I got a meteor ability, and then I got a spore mortar ability. So the first ability that I'm really going to showcase is just the spore mortar ability, as you can see in here. And the whole entire goal is the plants or whoever has this ability, um, you basically shoot a projectile, and when it impacts, it leaves like a little acid spore. I'm just going to show you, and then I'll just talk about the ability just very briefly. About customization stuff that you can do. So, if you look here, I have them firing 3 at a time. And if you go in here, you're like, oh my gosh! Oh no! Okay, so how this ability works, right, is a couple things. So I'm in the projectile class. I should not be in the projectile class. Where's my mortar? Okay. So basically how this ability works is that you can basically pick your projectile count. So if I did 11, I'm not pulling these currently. I'm going to pull them, but for right now, for just testing purposes, I I'm not pulling. But okay, so he'll spawn 11 projectiles. Whee! Doing. Whoa! What the heck? And what? I'm just gonna keep that to 3. And how I really wanted to go about the ability is we have a ring around the player. The ring has a minimum radius from the player's position, and then a maximum radius. So basically, within this 400 centimeter width wide ring around the player, we can, shoot projectiles. And the whole goal is to not really damage the player with the projectiles, but instead it's to really kind of make the player more cognizant of the enemies and how they're trying to control his direction. I want the player to feel like he's being challenged, but it's a challenge that he can win, not just an overall, hey, just go here. I want it to feel like kind of pressuring the player in a good way. So that's the ability. So the next ability, and this is actually my favorite, is this fan arrow. I think this is actually really dope. And I'm sure by the name you understand what it is. So if we were to go into the game, the plants are coming. Sling! Sling! A sling! A sling! Okay, so how this ability works is basically, I have to navigate to it. So this is the BP. We want the gameplay ability. So how this ability works is same thing with the spore mortar. We can choose how much we want, the fan angle degrees, the arrow velocity, and the accuracy scatter. So basically, what good is having an ability if it just decides to hit the player right off the bat? No, you want it actually to feel like the plants are clumsy. It just gives, I'm just actually going to bump this probably up to like 15. Because my whole entire goal is to really put the pressure on. I don't really focus on, I'm not really caring about damaging the player per se. I want him to feel some tension and him to actually feel some sort of combat. So that's this. And then the next ability that I'm working on is this meteor ability. Meteor. So this meteor ability. And I have this ability on the other screen. But I'm sure that you all can infer what this ability is. Doing. So if I were to go here, and I do have one little small issue with the hit particles playing on the initialization of it. I don't know why, but basically, if you watch, the whole goal is again to surround the player, but it's in a different manner. And I think those are a little bit too close. I think what I can actually do here is 16. And the prediction time. So how I have it is this meteor ability, the whole entire goal of the meteor ability is just like the other abilities, it's to provide pressure. But all three of these abilities provide pressure in their own unique way, forcing the player to come up with a strategy to deal with all three. They don't just apply pressure the exact same. They provide pressure within their own little confines. So how this meteor ability works is I predict the player's location based upon their forward vector and their velocity, and I sample that for like 1.5 seconds or something before they go to there. So I look at in that short time window, I look at their velocity and their forward vector for 1.5 seconds, and then I try to predict a location. And then in that little location area, I define a radius of, no, I define a whole entire diameter of 1600. So that way it's able to kind of pressure the player, but not really kill him. If that makes any sense. So, yeah, that's just a quick little development log of some more abilities that are coming. I actually did do something really cool. I added in a couple more enemy types. I'm only going to showcase one enemy type right now because I don't really like the other one. Because I gotta make a particle system a little bit visually more appealing. So if I were to go in and if I were to choose the suicide bomber, as you guys can infer, this enemy is a suicide bomber. He likes to blow shit up. So just go full screen there. So these enemies, they are supposed to be really annoying and punishing. So as you can see, they instantly try to blow up. And as you can see, I don't know why my enemies keep on trying to get stuck. They only give you a little short time before they blow up. But they blow up when they're in a certain range. So I made the range 400 centimeters just for the time being. And what I also think I'm going to do is I'm going to buff their movement speed. So that way they can actually really get to you because the player is a little bit faster. And how that actually works, well, unfortunately for me, even though they're still in a prototyping phase, I didn't really. I think no, actually, I think I did copy all of the. Um, yeah, I copied all of the data. So I'll just go right in here, and I'll just change movement speed to 450. Um, and for the suicide bomber, yep, I'm getting it. There we go. Wait. So now you can see they're moving a little bit faster. So now I gotta really watch out. It's like, oh my gosh, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming, he's gonna blow me up. Ah! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What the heck? I think this is actually a very good movement speed because they're approaching the player, they're blowing up, but they're not necessarily hitting him. But if he decides to change directions like really quick, yeah, he's gonna really get it. And so these guys, their main intention is to provide some sort of urgency, because now you can really see I'm getting hit. Um, and I forgot also I'm doing a little mistake here. They're blowing me up when they're already dead. But that will be fixed within the next development log. So look out for that. But I figured, I'm just gonna keep on recording a lot of these development logs because once we publish the game, it's gonna be nice to look back and to see things in a broken state. So I appreciate you all for bearing with me and my slow talking. But anyway, take care. Peace.